I stood in a white dress at the front of the wedding hall, with Ethan Blackwood waiting near the altar and Clara smiling beside the first row. Everyone had come to watch me marry the man who had promised to save me, and that was why the half-open door behind the flowers mattered so much. I had stepped back only to calm my shaking hands. The veil scratched my cheek. The diamond ring on my finger felt heavy, like it already knew the truth before I did. Then Ethan's voice slipped through the crack in the door. After the wedding, her shares are mine. She is too stupid to know she is the missing veil heiress. My breath stopped halfway in my chest. For 1 second, I thought I had misunderstood. My mind tried to protect me with a stupid little lie. Maybe he meant someone else. Maybe there was another woman in a white dress, another fool with a ring, another orphan who had spent her whole life begging for a place at someone's table. Then Clara laughed. "Poor Ava," she said. "She still thinks we love her." The sound cut deeper than Ethan's words. I stared at the flowers in front of me. White roses, gold ribbon, crystal lights. Everything looked clean and holy, but behind that door my life had just turned into a coffin with music. My fingers curled around my bouquet until a thorn pierced my palm. The sting helped me breathe. I did not cry. I did not scream. I only looked down at the ring Ethan had given me. He had placed it on my finger with soft eyes. "I will protect you," he had said. Now I knew what he meant. He would protect the lie until my name, my blood, and my future were all locked under his. The wedding music rose. The priest looked toward me from the altar. Ethan stepped into place, handsome, calm, and perfect for every watching eye. Clara wiped the corner of her eye like she was moved by love. She had always been good at looking innocent. I had always been good at believing her. The priest lifted his hand. "Please step forward." Every guest turned to me. I could have walked to Ethan. I could have smiled. I could have let the trap close because the hall was full and my shame was already dressed in white. Instead, I walked past him. Ethan's smile stayed on his face for 2 steps. On the third, it twitched. "Ava," he whispered, still gentle for the guests. "What are you doing?" I stopped beside the champagne tower. The glasses caught the light, bright and cold. My reflection broke into 100 tiny versions of me, all pale, all quiet, all done being blind. I pulled the ring off my finger. A small gasp moved through the hall. Clara stood halfway from her seat. "Ava, don't be dramatic. Everyone is watching." I looked at her once. "That is the point." The hall went still. Ethan's eyes sharpened. "Come back here. We can discuss this after the ceremony." "No." One word. Calm, clean, final. The room went so quiet I heard the ring drop into the champagne glass. It hit the crystal with a soft, bright sound. I looked at Ethan. "I refuse." His smile broke completely. The guests began whispering. Phones lifted. Clara's face tightened, then softened again for the crowd, but I saw the crack under her mask. "Ava, you are confused," she said. "Ethan loves you. We all love you." The lie sounded sweet in public, but in my ears her laugh still echoed from behind the door. Poor Ava. I lifted my injured palm and let the bouquet fall to the floor. A red mark spread across my skin from the thorn, small but real. It was the only honest thing in the whole room. Ethan stepped closer. "You will regret this." I met his eyes. "No, you will." A glass slipped from someone's hand and shattered. For one breath, I thought I had won back my life. Then a burning pain struck my chest. My knees weakened. The lights above me stretched into long golden lines. The faces in the hall blurred. Ethan reached for me, but not like a lover. Like a man trying to catch property before it fell in front of witnesses. I stumbled back. My hand hit the table. Champagne spilled. The ring rolled inside the glass, shining under the bubbles like a trapped star. Clara's voice came from far away. "Ava?" I wanted to laugh. Now she remembered my name like it mattered. My body turned cold, but my mind stayed sharp. I saw Ethan's fear. I saw Clara's panic. I saw the guests recording the ruin they had come to celebrate. Then everything went black. In the darkness, a voice spoke inside me. System activated. Second life begins now. My eyes opened on a velvet sofa inside the Vale mansion, with Richard Vale across from me and Lucas and Noah standing near the fireplace. This room mattered because it was the room I had died wishing I had known, the room my real family had filled while I was raised by people who sold me. My throat locked before I could speak. The ceiling was too high. The walls were covered with old portraits and gold frames. Rain tapped against the tall windows like nervous fingers. Everything smelled like polished wood, fresh lilies, and money I had never touched. Richard leaned forward. "Ava, are you all right?" I knew that voice. In my first life, I had heard it once on a video, announcing a charity fund for lost children. I had not known he was searching for me. I had not known the woman he lost was me. My hands gripped the edge of the sofa. My nails dug into the fabric. 3 months before the wedding. 3 months before the champagne glass. 3 months before Ethan's smile broke and my heart burned out in front of everyone. Lucas stepped closer with a cup of tea. "You look pale." Noah watched me from the side, quieter than Lucas, sharper too. His eyes moved from my shaking fingers to my face. He did not smile, but he did not look away either. Took the cup because my hands needed something to hold. "I'm fine." The room softened into silence. Then Clara's perfume reached me before her voice. She sat beside me in a pale blue dress, her smile sweet enough to poison a child. "Ava, we are so happy you found your real family." My fingers tightened around the cup. That same smile had sat beside me at the wedding. That same soft voice had called me sister while she helped Ethan bury my life under forged papers. I looked at her hand resting near mine. In my head, the words rose before I could stop them. "Liar. You pushed me toward Ethan so he could steal my inheritance." Richard froze. Lucas dropped his cup. Porcelain cracked on the marble floor, and hot tea spread like a brown stain between us. Noah's face changed first. His brows pulled together, not in anger but in shock. He turned slowly toward Richard. "Did you hear that too?" My heart stopped. The rain kept tapping. The broken cup kept rocking in a tiny circle on the floor. Clara's smile stayed in place, but her eyes moved too fast. Richard stared at me as if I had opened my mouth and spoken a forbidden truth. "I didn't say anything," I whispered. Lucas looked at me. "No, you didn't." The room tilted under me. I had come back from death, fine. Impossible, but fine. A system had spoken in the dark. Also impossible. But now my family could hear my thoughts? I pressed my lips together until they hurt. Do not think. Do not think. Do not think. Of course, that made my mind louder. They can hear me. They can hear everything. They heard Clara's name. They heard Ethan's plan. If Clara knows, she will run to him before I can prove anything. Richard's face turned even colder. Clara gave a small laugh. "This is strange. Maybe Ava is tired. Coming back to a real family after so many years must be too much for her." She touched my arm. Her fingers were warm. Mine went cold. "Sister," she said gently, "I only want the best for you." The word sister almost made me laugh. In my first life, I had begged for that word like it was food. Clara had fed me crumbs and called it love. I looked down at her hand. A thin bracelet circled her wrist, silver with a blue stone. I remembered seeing that bracelet in the dressing room before my wedding, lying beside Ethan's cufflink on the table. I smiled softly. "Then why is Ethan's forged contract in your bedroom drawer?" Richard's face turned dark. Lucas stopped breathing for 1 full second. Noah stepped away from the wall. Clara's fingers started shaking against my arm. She pulled them back too late. "What contract?" Richard asked. His voice was quiet, and somehow that was worse than shouting. Clara stood quickly. "Uncle Richard, this is ridiculous. Ava has just arrived. She is confused, and someone may have filled her head with ugly ideas. I have never hidden anything from this family." Her words ran too smooth. Too ready. I had heard that voice before, used on teachers, neighbors, doctors. And finally guests at my wedding. I lifted my eyes to her. "Then open your drawer." The fireplace cracked once. Clara stopped smiling. Lucas turned toward the door. "I'll get the key." "No," Clara said too fast. Everyone looked at her. She swallowed and fixed her face again. "I mean, my room is private. Ava should not be allowed to make wild claims and have everyone obey her like she is already the owner of this house." Owner. The Words slipped out like a knife from under silk. Richard stood. I had seen powerful men on television. I had seen Ethan pretend to be one. Richard did not pretend. The room changed around him. "Ava is my daughter," he said. "Her claim is enough." Clara's mouth opened, then closed. Something inside me twisted. Daughter. He said it like a fact, not a gift I had to earn. Noah walked to my side. "Ava, do you know where it is?" I kept my answer short. "Second drawer. Under the old photo album." The room went silent again. Clara's face lost color. Lucas stared at her. How would she know that? Clara backed toward the doorway. "This is a setup." I stood before I knew I had moved. My legs trembled, but I did not sit back down. I had died once wearing white and silence. I would not live twice wearing fear. I looked at Richard. "Check it now." The rain hit harder against the windows. Richard nodded to Lucas, and Lucas walked toward Clara's room while Clara watched, me with hate hiding under fear. Then the side cameras flashed in the hospital hallway while Richard stood at my left and Noah stayed close enough to block anyone who stepped too near me. This place mattered because one fake medical report could steal my name before I even entered Vale Group. The smell of disinfectant sat heavy in my throat. White walls, silver doors, red recording lights. Everything here looked clean, but I had already learned that clean places could hide dirty hands. A reporter pushed a microphone toward my face. "Miss Vale, are you dangerous?" Another voice shouted, "Did you fake your identity to take the Vale fortune?" My fingers curled around the strap of my bag. The old me would have tried to explain. She would have begged strangers to believe she was not crazy, not greedy, not a thief in someone else's bloodline, but the old me had died in a wedding dress. I looked at the camera lens and saw my own face inside the black glass. Pale, yes. Tired, yes. Broken, no. One report cannot erase blood. The hallway went quiet. Even the reporters paused, like they had expected tears and found stone instead. Ethan stepped out from beside the nurse station in a dark suit, perfect as a lie wrapped in silk. Clara stood beside him with soft eyes, holding a tissue she did not need. "Ava," Ethan said, his voice warm enough for the cameras, "no one wants to hurt you. We only want to make sure you are healthy before you take on a role that affects thousands of workers and billions of dollars." I almost smiled. He always knew how to make a knife sound like a gift. Clara moved closer. "Sister, please don't fight this. If the doctors say you need rest, we will all support you." Support. In my first life, that word had meant a locked room, a stolen signature, and Ethan's hand covering mine on legal papers I barely understood. Richard's jaw tightened. "Where is Dr. Mason?" Ethan turned slightly confident again. "He is coming with the report." "I know this is painful, Mr. Vale, but the public has questions. Your company cannot ignore them." The cameras moved back to Richard. I understood the trap then. If Richard defended me too strongly, he would look like a father blinded by guilt. If he doubted me, Ethan would win before the board meeting even began. Every lens in that hallway had become a rope around my family's neck. Noah leaned toward me. "Say the word and I'll get you out." I kept my eyes on Ethan. No. The small word dropped between us. Noah stopped moving. I would not run from the place built to label me. I would not give Ethan a picture of my back while reporters called it fear. Dr. Mason arrived with a sealed brown file in his hand. He was older than I expected, with tired eyes and a white coat too neat at the sleeves. His fingers pressed hard into the file, and that tiny detail told me he was not as calm as Ethan wanted him to be. "Mr. Vale," Dr. Mason said, "this is the evaluation." Richard did not take it right away. "Did you examine my daughter?" Dr. Mason's eyes flicked to Ethan, only for a second, but I saw it. Ethan smiled, sure the file would destroy me. "Doctor, please answer clearly for everyone here." Dr. Mason swallowed. "The report speaks for itself." The sealed file touched Richard's hand. A cold sound rang inside my mind. Warning. Fake report detected. Richard's fingers froze on the envelope. Noah's head snapped toward me. Lucas was not here, but I knew Richard and Noah had heard it. The system voice had not stayed inside me. It had crossed into them like a secret door opening at the worst and best moment. My pulse hit hard. They heard it. They heard proof before the paper even opened. Ethan's smile faded by 1 inch. "Is something wrong?" I looked at him. Not yet. The cameras caught his blink. Noah took the file from Richard before anyone could stop him. Then let's read it. Ethan stepped forward. Medical files are private. We should not turn Miss Vale's condition into a public show. I wanted to laugh at the ugly beauty of that sentence. He had dragged cameras here, fed rumors online, and now he wanted privacy because the trap had started to shake. Noah ripped the envelope open. Reporters leaned in. Clara's tissue crushed in her hand. Dr. Mason's face turned the color of old paper. Noah read the first page. His mouth tightened. I watched the hallway instead of the file. I watched every person who had shouted at me a minute ago now, waiting to see if I would fall. Public shame had a smell too. It smelled like hot lights and hungry silence. Noah lifted the paper. This report claims Ava has a serious mental disorder, he said. A wave of whispers moved through the hall. Clara covered her mouth. Oh, Ava. Her voice was soft, but her eyes were not. For 1 second, they shone with victory. Then Noah turned the page. But the signature date is March 3rd. Richard's voice cut through the whispers. Ava met Dr. Mason for the first time today. The hallway went still again. The cameras turned toward Dr. Mason. A reporter spoke slowly. Doctor, how did you sign a report before examining her? Dr. Mason opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Ethan stepped back half a step. It was small. Almost nothing. But I saw it, and so did every camera. Clara tried to recover first. There must be an office mistake. Hospitals make errors all the time, and Ava should not use a clerical issue to attack people. Who care about her? I looked at her, then corrected. The air changed. Clara stopped breathing through her smile. Richard took the report from Noah and held it up for the cameras. Until this forgery is investigated, no one will question my daughter's place in my family. Ethan's eyes moved from the report to the cameras, then to me. For the first time, I saw fear break through his perfect face. Then my phone buzzed in my bag, and the screen showed a new message from an unknown number. The real contract is already with the board. Ethan's contract hit the boardroom table while I stood between Richard and Lucas, with every Vale Group board member watching my face instead of the paper. This room mattered because one signed page could turn me from the lost Vale daughter into a greedy stranger who had no right to my own blood. The table was long, black, and polished enough to show my reflection. I looked smaller in it. Maybe that was why Ethan chose this room. Here, men in expensive suits could destroy a life and call it procedure. Ethan placed both hands on the table and leaned forward. Ava is emotional. She has been unstable since she came into this family, and now she wants power she does not understand. I have proof she signed everything to me before the hospital incident became public. My eyes moved to the contract. I knew that paper. In my first life, it had sat under my hand while Ethan told me it was only a simple marriage protection agreement. Clara had stood behind me, rubbing my shoulder, telling me not to overthink love. I had signed because I thought trust was proof of love. Now the same paper lay in front of me like a ghost that had followed me back from death. One board member coughed. Another adjusted his glasses. None of them looked cruel. That made it worse. Some people did not need to hate me to help bury me. They only needed to protect their money. Richard's voice was low. Ava never agreed to transfer her shares. Ethan smiled. With respect, Mr. Vale, your guilt as a father is speaking. You lost her once, so now you are willing to ignore facts. But Vale Group cannot run on emotion. The words were polished for the room. He wanted them to sound responsible. He wanted the board to see him as calm and me as dangerous. Clara stood beside him in a cream dress, hands folded like she had come to pray over my future. Her eyes met mine for 1 second, and I saw the same girl who had laughed behind the wedding door. She stepped closer and whispered, "Just let it go. Ava, you are not made for this world." Her voice was soft enough that the board might miss it, but I did not. The old me would have flinched. The old me would have wondered if she was right. Maybe I was too soft for money, too hungry for love. Too late to matter. I looked at her and smiled. I already did. The room went quiet. Clara blinked first. Lucas moved before Ethan could speak again. He walked to the screen at the front of the room and connected his laptop with steady hands. I watched the small loading circle appear on the wall. Ethan's smile thinned. "What is this?" Lucas did not answer him. I kept my hands loose at my sides. My pulse beat hard in my wrists, but I did not let my fingers curl. I wanted Ethan to see nothing. No fear, no rage, no warning that the trap had turned around and locked behind him. The screen flashed. A video opened. Ethan's voice filled the boardroom. "The hospital report must look official. If she is declared unstable, the board will never accept her." My skin went cold even though I already knew. Clara's voice followed in the recording. "And after she is isolated, she will sign whatever you put in front of her. She always does when she is scared." A board member pushed back his chair. Another whispered, "Is that real?" The video continued. I saw Ethan and Clara standing near a dark office window. I saw the brown file from the hospital. I saw Clara pass him a key. I saw Ethan laugh as he said, "Once the marriage is done, Ava disappears into treatment and I hold the shares." For one breath, I was back in the white dress, hearing every lie through the half-open door. My palm remembered the thorn. I pressed my thumb into the old mark until the memory obeyed me instead of breaking me. Ethan slammed his hand on the table. "This is edited. Anyone can fake a video now," I looked at him. "Then ask Dr. Mason." The boardroom went still again. Ethan's jaw tightened. Clara tried to step back, but the edge of the table stopped her. "Ava, please. You are angry. I understand that. But you cannot destroy people with stolen clips and wild stow." The cameras were already flashing inside the Vale Group press hall, while I stood behind the curtain with Richard on one side and Lucas on the other. This moment mattered because Ethan had invited the world to watch him rise, and now the same world would watch the truth take his place. I could hear the reporters through the fabric wall. Is Ethan Blackwood becoming Vale Group's new partner? Will Ava Vale lose her claim after the scandal? Is the family split? Each question pressed against my skin like a finger on a bruise. I did not move. I had learned that fear liked movement. It wanted shaking hands, quick breaths, wet eyes. I gave it nothing. Lucas looked at me. "You don't have to stand beside him." I looked at the stage lights cutting through the curtain. I do. The air changed around us. Richard touched my shoulder once. Not heavy. Not controlling. Just there. In my first life, I had spent years mistaking chains for protection. This touch did not trap me. Ethan's voice rose from the stage, smooth and proud. "Vale Group and Blackwood interests have always shared the same vision. Today is not only a business step, it is a family step." A quiet laugh tried to climb up my throat. Family. He used that word like he had ever known what it cost. Clara's voice followed, sweet and soft. "Ava has been through a difficult time. We all hope she heals away from pressure." I closed my eyes for 1 second. There it was again. The gentle knife. The public pity. The same old plan with cleaner words. Make me look broken, then take everything while pretending to pray for me. Richard stepped through the curtain first. The room erupted. I walked after him. Every camera turned to me. I saw Ethan's smile freeze for half a second. He had expected me hidden, ashamed, managed like a problem. He had not expected me in a simple white suit with my head raised and no ring on my hand. Clara's fingers tightened around her folder. Richard took the microphone. "There has been confusion about my daughter." The room quieted. Ethan stepped forward. "Mr. Vale, perhaps we should discuss private family issues after the announcement. The market needs stability, not emotional surprises in front of the press." He smiled at the reporters like he was saving everyone from me. I looked at him. Stability needs truth. The room went still. Richard opened the file in his hand. "Ava Vale is my legal daughter and the rightful heiress of the Vale family." For one breath, nobody spoke. Then the hall exploded. Questions crashed over each other. Cameras flashed until the room turned white in broken pieces. Ethan tried to smile, but his mouth would not obey him fast enough. "This is a misunderstanding," he said. "Ava has been misled by people who want to damage both families. I care for her deeply, and I would never take advantage of her pain." The words were long, polished, and desperate. I watched his hands instead of his face. His left thumb kept rubbing the side of his index finger. He did that in my first life when he lied about the contract. Small details survived death better than love did. Then the doors opened. Police officers entered the press hall. The noise broke apart. Ethan turned toward them, and for the first time, his perfect posture failed. Clara stepped back so quickly her heel hit the stage edge. One officer held up a folder. Ethan Blackwood, you are being questioned in connection with fraud, forged medical records, and illegal transfer documents. Ethan looked at Richard. You cannot do this. Think about the company. Think about the damage. If I fall, the headlines will drag Ava with me. Richard did not answer. I liked that. Some men deserved silence more than anger. Clara grabbed my arm. Her nails pressed through my sleeve. Ava, please, she whispered. We are sisters. I made mistakes, but Ethan pushed everything. You know me. You know I was scared. I looked at her hand until she let go. No. Sisters do not sell each other. The cameras flashed. Clara's face broke in public, not from guilt, but from losing the audience. That was the thing she loved most. Not me, not family. Only the room watching her. Ethan's knees hit the floor. Ava, he said, his voice cracking at last. Please tell them this is not what it looks like. I walked past him. My shoes made soft sounds on the stage steps. Each step felt like cutting one thread. The wedding dress, the champagne glass, the hospital hallway, the boardroom table, the old version of me who thought love meant staying quiet. Outside, cold air touched my face. Lucas followed me and placed an old folded letter in my hands. Your mother wrote this before you were taken. My fingers shook then, but not for Ethan, not for Clara, for the woman whose voice I had never heard and whose love had still found me through paper. I opened it carefully. One line waited in faded ink. My daughter, you were never unwanted. The words blurred, but no tears fell. I pressed the letter to my chest and breathed like my body had finally learned the shape of home. Behind me, the Vale mansion stood tall. Ahead of me, the road curved into sunlight after rain. This time, I did not need revenge to feel alive. I had my name, I had my family, and I had finally chosen myself.